My dear students of the third year prep, welcome today. Today I'm going to explain and study and practice chapter 7 of our story this year. As you see, hello 5, reader, journey to the center of the earth, second term. But before going to chapter 7, I'm going to revise chapter 6 first. What awoke Axel? We know in the last term that Axel fainted. Now we ask what noise awoke Axel? Okay, can you remember? Yes, the noise of waves breaking on the seashore. The noise of waves breaking on the seashore. Next question. How far was Axel from his uncle? How far was Axel from his uncle? After calculating, the professor found out that the distance was 6 kilometers away from Axel. 6 kilometers away from his uncle. What did the professor name the sea that he discovered? We know that Professor Lidenbrock discovered a sea and called or named it سماه اداله اسم. What did he name it? Lidenbrock Sea, after his name. Next question. What did the mushrooms look like? The mushrooms that they found on the seashore of the sea. They looked like big umbrellas. They looked like giant umbrellas. شمسيات ضخمة جدا, as you see in the picture. Number 5. How would the travelers means Professor, Hans, and Axel, cross the Lidenbrock Sea? By raft, which Hans made. Now, let's start chapter 7. First, I'm going to introduce the new words of this chapter. The first word, tug. Tug. Tug means sudden strong pull. شدة قوية مفاجأة. Next, fossil. Fossil means animals or plants that lived many years ago in the past and they are preserved or kept in the soil, in the ground. حفرية, بواقي أو بقايا الكائنات الحية المتحللة. Next word, monster. Monster, a very strange creature like animals that is large, ugly and frightening. وبنشوفه كتير في الكرتون اللي هو الوحش. Bite. Bite means to use your teeth to cut something. يعض بسنانه يعني. Next word, gradually. Gradually. Gradually means slowly, step by step, for a long time, not sudden, تدريجيا. Fountain. Fountain, something which push water up in the air. We have some fountains in the squares of Egypt. نافورة. Geyser. Geyser, a natural spring, منبع طبيعي مش صناعة الإنسان يعني, that sends hot water into the air like the fountain from a hole in the ground. Tremble. Tremble, it means shake slightly, يهتز قليلا أو يرتعش. Skull. Skull, the bones of a person's or animal's head. الجمجمة, خصوصا العظم, الجزء العظمي من رأس الحيوان أو الإنسان. Warn. Warn, to tell someone that is something bad or dangerous may happen. To warn someone. Sometimes I warn someone of a dangerous dog in the street. يحذر. Approach. Approach. To get nearer. To move nearer or closer. يقرب. يقترب. Tusks. Tusks. Tusks means a pair of very long pointed teeth that goes out or stick out of the mouths of animals like the elephants. اللي هي أنياب الفيل اللي خارجة وطويلة جدا من بقه ديت. Mammoth. Mammoth. An animal that lived a long time ago on the earth. ده حيوان منقرض يشبه الإليفنت ولكن much bigger. أضخم بكتير. Shepherd. Shepherd. Shepherd means the person who looks after or takes care of the sheep. راعي. كلمة shepherd جاية من كلمة sheep. راعي. راعي الغنم. Now let's go to the main points of chapter 7. I will tell the main point and explain what happens in this part. The first part or the first point of chapter 7, the wind, الرياح, blew the raft very fast on the surface of the sea. The wind or الرياح was very strong and blew or pushed the raft very fast on the sea. الرياح كانت قوية جدا لدرجة انها دفعت الرافت او المركب اللي هم عملوه فوق سطح البحر. ده الجزء الاول من chapter 7. Next part or next point, Hans tried, بيحاول او بيجرب fishing. Hans حاول يصطاد. طب هنشوف ازاي حاول يصطاد هانز. He tied a hook, صنارة, to a rope, put some meat and threw it into the sea. There are 3 steps. He tied a hook to a rope, put some meat and threw it into the sea. Then he waited, but nothing happened. انتظر بس ما فيش حاجة بتحصل. After that there was a tug of a big fish. Then he got the fish on the deck of the boat or the raft and looked at it. It was a very strange fish. سمكة شكلها غريب جدا. Why? There are 3 things about the fish. 1. It had a flat head, رأس مفلطحة, no tail and no eyes. It was strange because it had flat head, no tail and no eyes. Then the professor began to examine or to check this fish, and he found out that it was an extinct fish. بروفيسور ليدنبروك توصل انها سمكة من النوع المنقرض اللي ما عادتش موجودة على سطح الارض. ده الجزء بتاع hands trying fishing. Next part, the professor tried to measure the sea depth. حاول يعرف عمق البحر. How? He tied a big axe اللي هو الفأس to a rope, a long rope, and threw it into the sea. But the axe didn't reach the bottom of the sea. لم يصل أو لم يلمس عمق البحر. So he couldn't know the depth of the sea. So he pulled the axe to the surface, and then Hans cried. Why? He saw some marks, علامات, on the iron, الحديد أو المعدن of the axe. What were these marks? They were the marks of a monster's teeth. طبعا حاجة صعبة جدا لما يكون مونستر أو أي كائن يعني يقدر يعض في المعدن أو في الحديد بتاع الفأس. فهم اتخضوا جدا. They were very frightened of the monster. Then while looking out on the sea, they saw 2 monsters. The 2 monsters began to fight each other. يحاربوا بعضهم. This is the next point. There was a fight between 2 monsters. The professor, Axel, and Hans were very frightened. But luckily the two monsters didn't attack them. لم يهجموا عليهم. Why? Because they fought each other. And one of them was killed. One of the monsters was killed. واحد منهم قتل مات. And they passed this problem. عدوا أو عبروا هذه المشكلة. They were very happy. أكيد. Next part or next point. The travelers, Axel, Professor Lidenbrock, came to an island. But before coming to this island, they saw a big fountain. They were very frightened of it. They thought it was a monster. Another monster, another very big monster. But when they got nearer, لما قربوا, Hans found out it was an island. The professor came to the island and looked at the fountain. He found it was a geyser. وقلنا geyser اللي هو نبع ماء ساخن. The professor called or named this island Axel Island. So we should remember that the sea was called after his name, after Lidenbrock's name, and the island was called after Axel's name. Then they left the island behind and began to go on the sea again. After going for some time, it was very good, the weather was very good, but after some time it began to change. Axel was very frightened and he thought that there was a storm. Axel wanted to lower the sail, اللي هو الشراع بتاع المركب, in order to avoid the dangers of the storm. ابتعد عن مخاطر العاصفة لأنها يبدو أنها كانت very strong and dangerous. But the professor refused. He wanted the storm to help them go faster and faster. The storm continued for 3 days and it was very dangerous and strong. At that time there was a ball of fire in the sky that came to the raft, hit the raft, and Axel fainted. After Axel came to himself, he found out that the forest finished and he crossed the sea with the other travelers and came to another forest on the other shore of the sea. This is the explanation and the main points of chapter 7. Now let's go to some questions and their answers on chapter 7. Number 1, how did Hans كيفية أو الطريقة try fishing? He tied a hook to a rope, put some meat, and threw it into the sea. He tied a hook to a rope, put some meat, and threw it into the sea. Next question, what kind of fish did Hans catch? He caught an extinct fish. Extinct, منقرضة. Why was that fish strange? ليه غريبة؟ ايه المواصفات اللي تخليها غريبة؟ It had a flat head, no tail, and no eyes, as you see in the picture. Next question, what did the professor say about it? كان رأي البروفيسور ايه في الفيش؟ طبعا after examination, بعد الفحص والدراسة. He said he found out that it was an extinct fish. سمكة منقرضة. حتى شكلها غريب جدا زي ما بتشوفوا كده في الصورة. Question number 5. How did the professor حاول to find out the sea depth? عمق البحر. He tied a pickaxe فأس to a rope and threw it into the sea. Next question. Could the professor find out يتوصل أو يعرف the sea depth and why? No, he couldn't find out the sea depth. Why? Because the axe didn't touch لم يلمس the bottom of the sea. Question number 7. What marks علامات did Hans notice on the pickaxe اللي هانز لاحظها أو خد باله منها على الفأس، على المعدن بتاع الفأس. He noticed the marks علامات of a monster's teeth أسنان الوحش. Number 8. How long did the fight between the monsters or sea monsters last? قعدت قد ايه الخناقة او المحاربة بين الوحشين اللي كانوا في البحر؟ It lasted for about حوالي او تقريبا 3 hours. 9. Why didn't the sea monsters attack? لم يهاجموا the characters، ما هاجموش على الشخصيات او الابطال بتوعنا. ليه بقى؟ because they attacked each other، هم حاربوا بعض فما كانوش منتبهين خالص للرافت ومن عليه اللي هو بروفيسور ليدنبروك and هانز. Number 10. What or how was the end النهاية أو النتيجة of the monsters fight? One of the monsters twisted، كان بيتلوى من كتر الألم أو الجراح اللي أصابه its long neck in great pain ألم شديد and died. It was killed، قتل من نتيجة المعركة ديت. Next question. What was the dark shape؟ شكل مظلم ما كانش واضح بالنسبة لبروفيسور they saw. ايه الشكل المظلم اللي ما كانوش شايفينه من على بعد دوت؟ It was an island. It was an island as you see in this picture. What did the professor call the island? Name the island. بروفيسور أطلق عليها اسم. He called it Axel Island. Axel Island. What was the fountain؟ النافورة اللي هي كانت موجودة على الجزيرة ديت كانت عبارة عن ايه؟ It was a geyser. It was a geyser اللي هو نبع الماء الساخن. 14. How long did the storm last? Last means continue. استغرقت أو استمرت قد إيه وقت؟ It lasted for 3 days. 3 days. What happened to the raft during the storm? في حاجة حصلت للمركب أثناء العاصفة دي. The storm blew the raft، دفعت زي الويند قبل كده زي الرياح. The raft at a great speed، بسرعة رهيبة. What happened to Axel during the storm؟ حصل له حاجة أثناء العاصفة. And why؟ زي ما انتم شايفين في الصورة شكل العاصفة. He اللي هو أكسل fainted، أغمى عليه، فقد الوعي. Because a ball of fire، كتلة من النار burst، فرقعت أو انفجرت. And hit the raft، ضربت الرافت فأدى إلى إغماء أكسل. What did they find on the seashore؟ What did they find the professor Lidenbrock and Hans on the seashore? Bones of extinct animals، عظام لحيوانات منقرضة. And a skull، skull جمجمة، وطبعا ده اكتشاف جديد. وكمان جمجمة مش أي حاجة، a human of a man، جمجمة إنسان، وده ليه أهمية كبيرة جدا. What did the skull اللي هي الجمجمة prove، تبرهن أو تثبت عن إيه أو تدل على إيه؟ This skull proved that man had lived، الإنسان سبق وعاش on that seashore، في هذا المكان أو على هذا الشاطئ. What was the strange about the forest on the seashore? As you see, the trees were pale yellow. أصفر باهت فاتح خالص مش أخضر. With no lower branches. مفيش أفرع سفلية. كل الأفرع الأعلى زي ما انتوا شايفين في الصورة كده. What animals did they see in the forest? There were some animals in the forest. What were these animals? They saw mammoth. mammoth قلنا ده حيوان منقرض شبه الفيل. As you see in this picture. Number 21. How did Axel recognize? Recognize means realize or know. يعرف أو يتعرف على the mammoth. From pictures in his science books. طبعا كان صورة الماموس موجودة في كتب العلوم، فهو لما شاف الماموس تعرف عليها بسرعة. How was the shepherd الراعي strange. كان في راعي للماموس زي الشيب بالظبط، زي الراعي اللي بيرعى الغنم بالظبط، بس كان شخصية غريبة. ليه بقى؟ He was more than 3 meters tall. Very tall. طويل جدا، أطول من أي إنسان طبعا على الأرض حاليا. With long hair. ذو شعر طويل. What did the travelers لما أكسل and the professor do when they saw him? When they saw the shepherd? And why? They ran back. جريوا عائدين to the raft. Why? Because they were very afraid of the shepherd and the mammoth. I hope you can understand this chapter and get high marks. I wish you succeed and get full marks this term. Thank you.